So, this is Joe. Joe is a wholehearted chemistry teacher. Due to coronavirus, he has to teach online using Zoom software. Even though he little knows about the new methods of teaching, he's trying his best. And this is Henry Kevin. Kevin is a school basketball player. He hates studying, especially studying online, and usually complaining about the tuition fee since he cannot use the basketball court and still have to pay the same money as normal studying. As a result, instead of going online and studying, he goes to sleep and fails the midterm test. You all think he will fail the subject also? No, he changed it and studied hard another half term. Consequently, Kevin passed the subject. Why can Kevin do this? Because he has an always angry, powerful mom who pays all the tuition fees for him, and the school Joe teacher has a policy that as long as the final score of student is 50 or above, he will pass the course. To find out how can Kevin do that, we will look at today's lesson, Power and Politics in Organizational Behavior. Every day of your life, you move through a system of power that other people make. Do you sense them? Do you understand power? Do you realize why it matters? Power is something we often uncomfortably talking about. So, what is power? Power is the ability to make others do what you would have them to do. Of course, it plays out in all areas of life, from family to the workplace or to our relationships. Power governs how any firm of government works. It determines who gets to control the rules of the game, and if people convert the power into actions, we describe them as being engaged in politics. That's especially true in organizational behavior, how we work together in a community. Learning how power and politics operates is key to being effective, being taken seriously, and not being taken advantage of. In this presentation, we will look at where power comes from, how it works, and what you can do to become more powerful in public life in combination with politics. I'm Quynh Dao, and in this video, I'm gonna interact of three main points: the introduction, dependence, the key to power, and finally, social analysis. While Minh Uyen will show you what is power and leadership, phases of power, power causes and consequences. Thao will do the combination of three main points: power tactic, power effect, and finally, power in actions. Last but not least, Vân Lam will show us what is ethics of behaving politically, mapping your political career, and finally, impression management.
Hi, I'm Minh Uyen, and I'm in charge of this section, Power and Leadership. To start off, I want you to imagine a scenario where we have two people. The professor, A, has a wish that his student comes to class regularly. The student, B, wants to pass the course which the professor A is teaching. What we can extract from this piece of information is that B is dependent on A because B is a student of A. And vice versa, A has some power over B. Why is it so? Because A has something that B desires. The professor holds the decision if B will pass the course. Due to the dependency that the student has on the professor has the influence to the student behavior. Now if A wish is for student come to lecture regularly, then A can influence B to come to lecture regularly. Otherwise, the student might not fulfill his desire is to pass the course. It is also important to consider the alternatives. If there are hundreds of teachers beside A that teaching the subject that B want to pass, then B would have other choices to choose from. A wouldn't have that much of a power over B. But if the student needs to pass this exact course, which is only been taught by this professor specifically, the student has no alternative. This increases A's power over B. To sum up, powers refer to the capacity that A has to influence the behavior of B, so that B acts in accordance with A wishes. The greater B depends on A, the greater A's power is in the relationship. In turn, dependence is based on alternatives that B perceives, and the importance of B places on the alternative A control. In other words, a person can only control you if he or she has something that you desire. That is the concept of power. Now let's compare power to a quite similar concept, leadership. Leaders are those that use power as a means of attaining group tasks. The main difference between power and leaderships are leaderships require some congruence between the goals of the leaders and those who are being led, whereas dependence is the cornerstone of power. The direction of influence. Leadership research focuses on the downward influence on followers, whereas power research takes all factors into consideration. Leadership research emphasizes style. How supportive should a leader be? How much decision-making should be shared with followers? The research on power focuses on tactics to gain compliances. Where does power come from? How can somebody influence what you do? The answer lies on the basis of power. These are categorized into two groups, formal and personal. To make it easier to relate, I will try to give some real-life examples. And you should pay attention to this part because you will later see how this really old research can be applicable to our current situation. In formal power group, we have coercive power. It comes from the ability to punish someone if they fail to comply. You use coercive power when you threaten that people will be punished, such as saying that they will be fired or demoted unless they meet their requirements. Say that you work in a group project with X as the leader. X has the power to eliminate you from group distribution if you fail to do the assigned group task. Keep in mind that this power only works with high surveillance and only suitable for people who consistently fail to meet their requirements of the role. This power, however, backfired in professional environments, since this creates resentment and accusation of bullying. Rewards power comes from the ability to issue rewards. It can be financial, such as bonuses, pay raise, or it can be non-financial, such as recognition, promotion, public compliments, or a simple thank you. The trick is to create the expectation of a reward and trigger the part of our brains that want to receive rewards when we do hard work. Give a situation that your boss never notices that you exceed your job requirements. You do better than you're paid. Are you willing to do the job forever if he never gives you any kind of recognition? Sometimes a simple pat on the shoulder could mean a lot to one person. Legitimate power comes from a person's formal rights to issue directives or command because of their position in the organization. They are rightfully authorized to control and use organizational resources. So let's say that you're a shift supervisor of a coffee shop. You have the human resources and the ability to plan and to organize how to make your store work efficiently. You possess the legitimate power and you are responsible for the efficiency of your organization. Like Uncle Ben said to Peter Parker in Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. Let's discuss the second group, personal power. Expert power comes from the knowledge or experience in certain areas to achieve compliances. If you have really high education, say you're a physician, a lawyer, or some kind of expert engineer, then you have expertise. A lot of the time, people will look up to you to bring in that expertise to influence their decision making, how it is going to help and create the most benefits. And this does not just come from observation, but also reputation, qualification. It is worth saying that this expertise doesn't actually need to exist, but the perception of expertise needs to exist. For instance, we are more convinced with advertisements that say are recommended by doctors without actually confirming whether that information was true. Referent power comes from being respected or trusted. If you have influence over people because you have great charisma, you have good relationship with them, and they look after you, you have referent power. To say it in another way, if someone has referent power over you, you like, admire, and respect them. They can exercise power over you because you want to please them. Marketing experts apply this to optimize the ability that you will purchase a product through celebrity advertising. Like Oprah Winfrey, she's certainly not my boss, and probably not your boss, but she has a lot of influence over people. She recommends books, they become bestseller. She gives advices and people listen to them. She has a lot of referent power. It is difficult for us to assume which one is the most important because they each provide different features and usage. Rather, we answer which is the most suitable for our organization. How to gain commitment among employees. How to positively improve outcomes and work efficiency. Researchers suggest that personal power is the key. Both expert and referent power are positively related to employees' satisfaction with supervision, their organizational commitment, and their performances.